I've been improving my communication skills for almost 4 years now, and at that time, I've built up a decently social life for myself. So, one of the main things, one of the biggest lessons which I've learned over the course of the last 4 years was how to deal with awkward silence. Awkward silence, as we all know, is that silence which occurs when the conversation dies out and it kind of starts being awkward. Essentially, there were lots of different methods, right? Even down to changing your mentality to the point where you believe that silence in general in awkward or in conversations isn't awkward, which is pro tip. Like once you get to this level of experience and talking to people, silence doesn't really become awkward anymore, right? In most cases, of course, if you're on a date with like a hot girl, it's gonna be pretty awkward, but generally, it's not. Now, I'm not gonna be here to kind of sell you this mindset. In this video, I'm actually going to give you a very useful tip for dealing with awkward silence. The best answer and the best kind of resolution to this problem that I found is literally just the simplest one. And what it is just being curious. It's as simple as that. What I mean by that is when speaking to anyone, literally just become curious about that person. Imagine like when you're trying to learn something, right? Imagine when you're speaking to maybe your teacher or you're speaking to your dad and he's explaining some sort of topic. Imagine, just try to think back on how you kind of spoke in those conversations. Like you're speaking to the teacher maybe, and you're trying to get the teacher to explain some sort of point to you, and instantly as they're talking to you, questions are popping into your mind. But how does this work? But why does that work? But if this works, then why does that work, right? The reason that you're able to have such a nice conversation when someone is explaining something is because you are genuinely curious. You're genuinely trying to learn about it. So what you can do is you can just adopt the mindset of being genuinely curious about anything that any other person has to tell you, and through that you will instantly just start having questions will pop up in your mind. Like if you're talking to another person, let's say you meet them, whatever their name is, and they tell you, you ask them like, what do you like to do in your free time? And they tell you they like skiing. Now you just have to become kind of curious about it, right? Maybe you don't really care about skiing, sure, but you do care about being more social, and you do care about having the other person think of you as like a nice social person, and also avoiding awkward silence. So you become kind of curious. Okay, so if you ask yourself, if I was really curious about skiing, what would I kind of ask? So you ask like, oh, so where did you go skiing at? When was that? Oh, you went to this mountain. When was that? So like, how did you learn to ski? How long did it take you? What is like the number one tip you can give someone if they're trying to ski? Did you ever get hurt? Is it easy to get hurt in skiing? How expensive is it? Is it like an expensive sport, right? You start asking a bunch of these questions, and people just start talking like it's like a valve opens, and people just start talking because when you're talking about something that they like doing, right? Something that they're knowledgeable in, generally that's going to be something that they have a lot of experience in. And the fact that they have a lot of experience in probably means they like doing it. If they like doing it, they're going to like talking about it. Essentially, the more you talk about a person, talk to a person about themselves and about things that they like, the more that they're gonna like you. That's a quote from this book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. Essentially, people love talking about themselves, and if you can just become curious about them and ask them more questions about them, about topics related to them, they're gonna love you, and they're gonna be like, they're gonna see you as if you're this great conversationalist, when in reality, all they're doing is just asking questions and listening. In that same book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, there was this part where he speaks, like the author speaks about these two presidents, right? Or candidates for presidency in the US, right? These two guys trying to become presidents. And essentially, some people were asked who had conversations with those candidates, presidential candidates, they were asked, like, what are those guys like? And for guy number one, everyone who spoke to them said that they felt like that guy was the smartest guy in the world. You would speak to him, and he was so intelligent, and he would tell you so many things, and you could learn so much from him. But they said that was with guy number one. But with guy number two, they said when they spoke to him, they felt like they were the smartest people in the world. Speaking to him made them feel incredibly smart. So you can imagine who won that election. Even though guy number one probably was more intelligent than guy number two just learned to be curious about other people. Just learn to sit down, ask them questions, listen to them, learn from them, and again, people love talking about themselves more than anything else in the world, so they just began really liking him and seeing him as a great conversationalist, even though all he was doing was just asking a question and just nodding his head probably and listening. Now, a very important thing as well with this technique is you gotta learn how to listen, right? A lot of people today don't know how to listen. Your attention span gets so fucked from social media, from scrolling, that you're unable to just like stare at a point, stare at a person, and just listen to them. Your mind starts wandering, and the moment that happens, people can notice. The moment you ask someone something and they start explaining and they notice you kind of looking around and you're not really caring, they notice it and they feel disrespected, and people hate that. So the number one tip I can give you for this is to just try kind of going on a bit of a dopamine detox. Essentially, I have other videos you can check out on this topic on my channel, but essentially, kind of start watching less short form content and just start meditating. Literally, just 1 minute a day is enough for the start. Just sit in silence, close your eyes, and just try to focus on your breath. This will teach your mind to focus on one point at a time, and it will just make you more mindful, better at listening, and people will just like and appreciate you more. Now, learning how to, speak to people and learning how to be a good listener can be kind of daunting when you go out into the street, and it can kind of be difficult to find people to actually have conversations with. So, one very good tip I can give you is you can hop on online calls with people when there's like group calls and stuff. You can hop on those calls, speak to other people, and train your social skills with that. And a very good place that I can recommend you to go to is the first link in the description. It will take you to my free community that I have on this app called School, where I have calls where you can hop on a call with me, or I have weekly group calls where it's literally like the entire group is just in this one big call and everyone can talk, and you can try improving your social skills and try using any techniques which you learn from these videos or books or whatever in those calls. If you found this video helpful, I think you'll find a lot of value in this video right here. Click on the subscribe button and do the work.